It's from the club.
It's only dues funds that are subsidized.
I like the background music on right now.
I think it's important to note that, I mean, they open the entire restaurant, I mean, kitchen just for us. They're not a breakfast restaurant. They do this just for us.
Yes. And that I have checked around in the community, where else could we meet? Where we might be able to get food, and we would have the same kind of ambiance. We'd have
Listen, all the past presidents that deal with breakfast location, please raise their hand.
Yeah, he had the year. And neither one of you. So, yes, Howard.
One factor you should be aware
Why
of.
don't you stand up?
Yeah, one factor you should be aware of is the $15 funds not just the meal, but the venue.
Yeah.
And if we went somewhere else, we'd have to pay for the venue.
Yes, yeah. And so we may even have to pay more. Yeah, we have to pay more for the venue. Let's see, I'll propose a couple of ideas then. Suppose if we incrementally raise the price. So we, 12, I think we were at 10, so then we raised it to 12 last year. So say in January we raised it to 13, 14 or 15? 15.
Well, we tried to do it.
They do.
We're going to have to, the topic continues to be an issue. 2 years from now, we're going to have to go up a couple bucks more. So
Bite the bullet.
Let's just do it.
$15.
Go for it.
Okay.
Just maybe, is there, I know
Stand up, Brent.
this has been discussed in the past,
Yes.
but can there be just a fee if someone doesn't want to pay the 50, just a coffee fee or something?
Yeah.
At
The
this
problem
point,
there is because of negotiating food costs, right? So then you say we guarantee that we will feed 30 people at breakfast, and then we have 25 people that come in and say, oh, I'm not going to actually eat breakfast, but the club's still paying for it. So then we're still upside down with regard to that because of the guaranteed cost that we have to make.
And my concern is just keeping the cost down so that people that might not be able to, it might be kind of hard to pay a $15 fee every week, that it doesn't become an issue that they can't be a member. It's just the costs, Rotary's kind of had a reputation of being a high-cost organization. In fact, I have a person that is interested in joining that I've talked with, and he's retired on a fixed income. I'm kind of trying to figure out how to talk to him about the costs of Rotary. Really wants to serve, but I'm not sure he can afford to pay the dues plus that every week, so I'm not sure if that's kind of where we're going. Just something to think.
Yeah. And that is true, but I'm also wondering if they can't pay $15 for breakfast, how can they pay, $30 for our Taste of the Holiday tickets and all those kind of things that do come up for Rotary? So I don't know, but I do think that it's been an issue for years, and that we could go with 15, and if we're finding that people are discouraged from that, and that you're experiencing that, and a lot of us are, we could reconsider. But it seems to me like that's the cost of having breakfast. And we either have our dues covered until our pile runs out, and then we raise our dues. Yeah. Or we pay more now for breakfast. Pay or we pay it. So let's take a hand vote. All of those, let's see what our options would be. Our options would be raise our dues so that it's, when we get to the point of losing our, I think we've got an excess, right, Brian?
Correct, yeah.
There's an excess on the club side that we're paying down now because we're paying for the breakfast.
There's probably $20,000 in the bank built up excess.
Okay.
Over
So we've
25
got
year
quite a
period.
bit in the club side that we could spend down on the breakfast. Or we could pay the price of the breakfast and not pay down the deficit, the balance.
Or pay 12 and raise dues.
Or pay 12 and raise dues, okay? So it's either pay down the club pay 12 and raise dues, or pay 15 for the breakfast, or our three choices, okay? Yes.
Howard said part of the cost is the room fee.
Yes, well,
So just,
The
they,
fact that we.
yeah.
so I just wanted to sort of put it in perspective. Is it reasonable that the club pays for the cost of the room? Is that a reasonable club? They're not necessarily paying for breakfast, but maybe that portion could be considered paying for the facility. Like other people are gonna have to pay, even if we moved and didn't have food, we'd have to pay for the
It
facility.
is worked in. I mean, they don't have a separate charge for that, but that's how they calculate it. We're letting them use the place, we're renting.
And yeah, and that's reasonable. They've got to have people here, but I'm just in terms of how you think about those costs
I see.
and potentially trying to be a little bit more reasonable to people who don't necessarily for that every week.
Okay,
Is
so
that
that,
a reasonable just mindset? So you're like, because it feels bad. I'm like, oh, I don't want the club to have to pay for my breakfast, but if part of it's to pay for the room,
makes more
it's
sense.
just
Yeah,
sort of
kind of
thinking
change
of
the
it.
narrative around a little bit.
And then I don't know in terms of Jessica's comment if there's a way to say, hey, there's a couple people who are like, hey, can I please just be a coffee only person and they don't ever get breakfast and then everyone else is assumed. I don't know if there's some, if that just gets too complicated.
And then
Get
they're
it.
just eating off other people's plates.
I don't know. They probably researched it all and tried to look at it 1,000 ways. But I just wasn't sure if there was some other option other than.
Okay, so Brian, what do you think about that? How could that work if the club paid, quote, a rent of $3 a meeting, and then we paid 12 for the rest?
I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Cash is fungible.
Yeah,
Mentally feels different.
yeah.
There's,
Right.
oh, sorry.
Keep it simple for everyone and not make it suffer. Let's not make Brian suffer and make him do all the work. It's easy for us to pay that $3.
Okay.
Well, you pay $200 for a shirt.
Since they're often our fairly significant member of our club who aren't here every Friday, maybe this type of vote club-wide, if you're looking for a input, should go out to a survey monkey to say, here are the three options, what's your opinion, and one of them could be, will this put you in financial hardship, should we talk to you individually about that? And not put anybody on the spot for their
Yeah,
own
public.
financial issues here.
Okay. Jared. And Dick, you're next.
I think that we're all business people, or in my case, I'm a business person. There's a problem running a chronic deficit. Business people go out of business if you're in a chronic deficit. I think, I understand that $15 may be a hardship to some people, but I think for the majority of us, we understand that we're paying $15 per person, and whether it's for breakfast or room fee or whatever, it's for us to be together and to meet as a club. And we have exhaustively researched other breakfast places in Arcata, and there just aren't any other options for us. So I would like us to seriously consider just paying what it's costing us. And know that it's at some point in the future it's going to go up, just like the price of gas and jumps all over the place. Some goes down, but a lot goes up.
Okay, thank you, Jared. So with that in mind, I'm going to do a show. Oh, God.
I'm standing on a freaking chair. I'll stand on the table if I need to. I would like us to look at this in two ways. There's a short term and a long term. The short term is I think we need to pony up and as individuals pay the additional amount. I think for the next Rotary year we should consider upping the dues. We pay for it no matter what, doesn't matter. I mean, we're going to pay for it. Upping the dues and lowering the breakfast cost, because we're not the only ones affected by that. Our visitors, our visiting Rotarians are also affected by that. And what we don't want to do, we might want to look at the costs of other Rotary clubs, how we compare, but we don't want to be the high-priced breakfast option because we want to be inclusive, and that option also, having it front-loaded in the dues, also allows us as a club to take into consideration people who are Rotarians who may be having difficulty in their finances in that particular year or whatever, but we have had that in the past where we've had kind of a sliding scale for dues in a couple of cases, and I think we want to make it so it's not a shock, there's no sticker shock when you're walking in the front door. We want to get them on the back end, so.
So to me, that sounds like a good kind of middle ground, where we're raising our dues to $15. Yes?
One more thing that we can land this plane. I like the idea of raising the dues because I can expense that 100%. My meals, I'm supposedly supposed to, Brian can help me with this, supposed to be differently on my, you know, but I like the idea, it's the dues I write off, but of course meals I have to fudge or split in half and do something I can't.
Say that.
I just wanted to say that.
Okay, all right, there you go.
You know, this is one thing I didn't hear brought up is really, we have a number of people that obviously don't always come to meetings.
Right.
And right now, if they're not participating in the $15 expense or anything, they're not help subsidizing the meeting costs.
Right?
So part of allocating part of those funds, you know, whatever the dollars are, into the dues and into that program, help spread that load around. Because we are providing a meeting available to all.
That's a good point, and it's an option that's available, then they're choosing not to come. Terry?
So quick and dirty math, if we're talking about $3 per week per member, and Big Read seems 50 is, that's $150 a year we're talking about.
So that's, and how much do we pay now?
That's paid for, that's paid for.
That's what?
Paying for the meals rather than
Yeah.
club subsidy.
Yeah, yeah. What percent is that of our dues that we would be increasing by? 50% or something?
More than that.
Yeah, more. That'd be increasing the dues by 60. So what I would like to suggest, I like the short-term idea that we start paying for it $15, which is the price of them, and that we look at what the ramifications would be to raise the dues to cover the whole thing so that we could ultimately have a lower price breakfast and include more people who are visitors. What do you guys think about that? Let's see. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay.
One at a time.
One more time. $15 starting in January for our meals, and then take it to the board. Our board meeting is the 9th, and we look at what the ramifications would be to increase our dues.
And
So-
then go back to 12.
And then to go back to whatever, depending on what it, with the point of lowering the price of entry to each meal, and that the commitment side is on dues. But we don't know what that cost would be yet. I mean, I don't want to declare $12. $12 would be our floor, though, I would think, because that's really covering the food.
Yeah.
So,
Can we send out the survey monkey to everybody in the club and then vote on it, get feedback, and then vote beginning of next year?
if we had to, yeah. Do you not feel like we represent enough of the club at this point? We're the people that are coming and paying the 15.
Well, I know, but that's why the people who aren't here, adding it to dues is better, because then they're contributing, rather than we're paying for everything.
Add it to their dues.
So I think the main thing I want to know is, are you guys willing to pay 15 per meal while we're figuring out what adding it to dues would be?
Yes.
That's the vote that I'm
Yeah,
looking
you have no
for.
choice, you gotta
Okay?
do that.
Yeah, okay, so any of those,
But how long is it going to take to make that determination?
we're going to bring it, we'll talk about it at the board meeting on the 9th. And then we could come back to the club with our suggestion.
So
And then we could,
so can't we just leave it the way it is until then, and then go forward with it rather than way back and forth?
No meetings until then anyway. Regardless.
okay, all right, so we will bring it to, we'll bring this up at our next meeting. I think we have one meeting before then, so that's not gonna kill us. We'll bring it up at 2 meetings from now. So no change, is what I'm hearing. No? Okay, so let's do a vote.
15.
All those in favor of 15 on our January first back Friday meeting? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, Ed? Yep. Okay, all those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, somebody else outside. Get outside.
Okay.
Who didn't vote?
Bring